Hey, I'm Nick Urankar, and this is going to be a personal one. Um, I've spent, or I spent over a decade training like my life depended on it, and before that was playing every sport imaginable, trying to get to another level, hyper competitive. From 18 until I started that journey in 2010, 2009, and I competed at the CrossFit Games 5 times. I lived for it. My identity was completely wrapped up in it. And then 2020 hit. And I don't think I've gone this raw or in depth on this, so bear with me. I had just qualified for the games again, and I kid you not, I qualified, and the next morning I woke up and it was like, here's who qualified, and this is your placement. The games are canceled. And COVID shut everything down. And I realized I might not get that shot again, like for a long time. I think this was April or May, and the games were always in August, which would mean that I'd have to wait all the way till the following August. This was well over a year. And I remember just kind of like not really sure what that meant, but then a little while later, like it hit me a lot harder than I expected, to the point like it started making my wife concerned. Um, and I started to think like, what am I doing? What if this thing that I've poured everything into never came back? What if it never comes back? And there was no guarantee, especially COVID. No one expected COVID to happen. And it was like all of a sudden I just started to get burnt out. Like it was weird. It was just like you have that, but when you are so hyper focused on something, I wouldn't call it burnout. It's just fatigue. You're just like, okay, I don't know if I can do this, and you do it, and you're like, okay, I can. And I literally stopped working out for the first time. I hadn't taken more than a day off in well over a decade, and this was the first time I took off multiple days. I felt lost, and I had to ask myself, is this how I want to keep living and training? During that time, something changed. I didn't want it. Like, the longer that I went not working out, I literally just didn't want to. And I told myself, just move. 10 minutes, maybe 45, no pressure, just show up. Like, don't be competitive. Don't try to crush yourself. Just literally go and just try to move. And I started seeing my time differently, my workouts differently. I realized I didn't need to chase competition to train with purpose. I had, like, everything I did was to win, to be the best, to just crush yourself and push yourself. And it didn't make any sense why somebody would just work out. And I started putting my energy into sharing what I've learned over the years, what really works, not just what looks cool. But it was hard. I would post some swole workouts. Like, it was easier during COVID because people were stuck in their homes, and you know, people probably thought like, oh, this is what he's doing right now because he's in his house. I didn't want to go to the gyms because I felt wrong walking into my gyms and working out when everybody else was stuck at home. And it was kind of a simple way to show some simple things that I'm doing, and people really connected with it. And it got really, really hard as COVID ended because people still looked at me as like this competitor and I have to be this. And it started getting really hard to transition. But the truth is, like, most of what works in fitness is simple. It's not fancy movements or perfect meal plans. It's showing up, it's mastering the basics, it's staying consistent. And truthfully, consistency reveals everything. It's how you learn, like, it's how you learn what works for you. Like, you can't figure it out until you do it. That's where growth happens. I think people are constantly trying to find the fancy, and that's not where the results lie. So for me now, I train less and look and feel better than when I was grinding all day. I look back sometimes, I'm like, dang, how did I do that? But why? And it's because I'm smarter, because I've learned what actually matters. And I built a system around it that has adapted to my life, not fights it, because I've loved working on businesses and helping other people and connecting and not living in the gym. And you always hear like trust the process, but the truth is trust someone who's lived it. Like, you're not broken. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to take action, one rep at a time, one good decision at a time. So that's where I live now. That when I lost the ability to compete that year, it got burnt out. The fire went away. I did not know what I was going to do. And it took me probably 3 or 4 years to finally let go of the identity that I'm a games athlete, that I train for that's what I do, that I've been doing something different since 2020. I still love CrossFit, think it's amazing, still do it, but I don't do it like I did. I haven't done a muscle up in forever. I don't, if I want to, train like an athlete or a competitor, I'll do workouts that are like crazy and hard just to see if I still can, but not to the level that I did. For me now, it is longevity. It's having fun. And I think it wasn't fun. What was fun was the idea of what could be at the end. So it's the journey. The journey is the fun part when you get to the end and you look back and you're like, dang, I did all that stuff. But for most of us, we don't even get to the point where we do the stuff because we're so bombarded with so much stuff out there. And even like myself, we're bombarded of what people expect from us. And I learned during COVID about expectations, that people put a lot of expectations on me when you're running businesses. And I had to learn that an expectation is just somebody else's want from you. And that most of the time we don't give people the okay to put that expectation on us. We don't say, okay, you want this from me? Got it. I'm going to give that to you. And I had to learn that I also have my own wants, my own expectations for myself. And I have to stand up for those more than anybody else's. And that was one of the hardest turning points with people. And I lost a lot of people because I couldn't give them what they wanted because I didn't want it anymore. And through that process, it's been really hard to say, hey, I don't want to compete. I don't ever want to. I never believed in retiring. I never believed that you just like retire. But I didn't know what the end actually looked like. So a lot of times when people are still going and someone says, hey, they should have retired a long time ago, they were done. I don't believe that. If they want to keep going, it doesn't matter to what level they're doing it. They're still there. They're still crushing it. They're still loving it. And then some people retire early and they're like, what? Why would they do that? And it's like, there is no right or wrong. We just don't know why. Once you know why, it makes sense. And for me, I just didn't want it anymore. I didn't want the grind. I didn't want to push. I didn't want the stress, the pressure, the whatever you want to call it. It just wasn't for me anymore. And now, the way that I train and the way that I help, it is simple. Like breaking it all down. And truthfully, that's why I've created the new program Built, because I feel like that's what we're all trying to do is build ourselves up. And this is a way to help you do that. So there's a little challenge I want to do, because right now this is what I did during COVID. This is what I did for a long time. I couldn't train for a half hour, even like 40 minutes most days. I would just do like little gaps in my day. Like it was easier for me to do 5 to 10 minutes of something and then go away and not put a lot of pressure on it and do that a few times a day or once a day than try to go in like with a huge plan and do all these things. So here's my challenge. Do this today. Set a timer for 5 minutes, so a 5-minute AMRAP, so as many reps as you can do. You're going to do 5 push-ups and then 5 burpees. And you're just going to keep repeating that for 5 minutes. That's it. So imagine, though, after you do it. So do that. If you can do it now and pause this, do it. 5 minutes, 5 push-ups, 5 burpees, just keep going. But what I would want you to think about is if you did this and this is how I want you to think about like training and staying consistent. If you did this 2 to 3 times a week, in a few months, you'd see the difference in your results. You'd probably feel it, but ultimately you would see the difference, right? You're doing more in that 5 minutes. That's called progress. That's the whole point of us working out. That's the whole point of when you get sore. It's progress. You're feeling the progress. Having nutrition habits, you know you're doing the right thing. That's what Built is about. So you then add nutrition habits to that. You add smart programs, smart training. You add little bit by little bit, and you stack wins. We're not training for who we were. Like, that's not what I'm doing. I'm training for who I'm becoming now. That's what I'm focusing on now. And that's the message that I want to start getting across. It's like, hey, I've been on both ends of like not wanting to do anything after being a person who spent my life in the gym. And now I'm building somebody different. And I want to become the best version of myself in this new chapter for me. So hopefully you do that. Try the workout. Let me know what you think. You know, get built. This is Nick Urankar. I hope you have an amazing day.